Welcome back to Ozarks Live. Cammie is outside to show off a special project someone has been working on.
That's right. So Cammie, what can you tell us about the Lost and Found Grief Center and what is happening outside?
Hey guys, I'm just right outside the studio on our sidewalk for a good reason, but I want to introduce to you who I'm with. I'm with Matt Graham, who is the junior board member at Lost and Found Grief Center. And then we also have Jamie Fields, who is the resource development director for Lost and Found. And then we have Tiffany Collins with TLC Art Studio in Nixa. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Thank you guys so much for being here. Okay, so first of all, we are outside to take a look at the sidewalk here in just a minute. But the reason why this is happening is because they're having an event to highlight the Lost and Found Grief Center. So Jamie, first of all, talk to me about what the Lost and Found Grief Center is.
For nearly 25 years, we have offered no-cost therapeutic grief support to children, families, and adults in the community. And we have groups, 29 groups that are active right now. As you can imagine, back to school is always the time that we see a pickup in phone calls and enrollment and a need for the services that we're offering.
And not just services, but I know that you have a lot of help, like on your website, even just for tips for people to find. But also when they come to you, is it kind of like a group setting, or is it like a program that they go through, or kind of how is that set up?
Great question. So people can find us online or they can make a phone call. And the next step is that we take some information from them, whether it's submitted online or in person with a call. And then one of our therapeutic grief counselors will give them a call back and find out if they're a fit for group or individual counseling at that time. Individual counseling does have a fee, but groups have been offered for nearly 25 years at no cost, again, up to 29 groups, and couldn't do it without the families we serve. And we know that loss happens all times of the day. So we do offer those resources where people can find out how to support a friend, whether it's showing up to the service, bringing the casserole, or coming to the chalk contest. Showing up is what is so important for those families right now.
Okay, so this chalk contest that she mentioned is coming up this weekend on Saturday, on September 9th. And so Tiffany, you're an artist. How are you involved in this?
Well, me and Matt Graham have grown up together, and he's a close, dear friend of mine. And being an artist, he came to me and said, I would like to, let's do an awareness campaign for like a chalk competition here in Nixa. So it's been a few years in the works, and I'm just so glad that Lucid TLC Arts can partner with him to bring more awareness to helping people who've gone through grief.
I love it. Thank you. Okay, that brings me to Matt. Matt, how did you get involved with the Lost and Found Center?
So, Lost and Found Grief Center's got a big place in my heart. I wish, when me and my wife were going through what we went through, we lost a child about 10 years ago after 4 days. And during those moments and those months and years afterwards, you really feel like you're on your own island all the time. And I feel like with grief especially, it's really important to feel like you've got a little bit of a community around you, to be able to hear people's stories, to throw your stories at them and kind of see how they react and give you some ideas on how to possibly deal with what you're going through. When me and my wife were going through that, I didn't know about Lost and Found at the time. I found out about it about 2 or 3 years later. I wish I would have known about it then, because it probably would have been a faster road to, I guess, the best word would be recovery. Since we do have so many groups that we use and so many more coming up, that having that group setting of being around other people that have been in a similar situation is super important. So that's where this sidewalk chalk contest came from. We thought about this. COVID really put a stop to a lot of things we were doing with this. A lot of our big sponsors did do some stuff for us, but we wanted this to be a bigger just community event. So that's why it's not necessarily a fundraiser. If you want to bring funds, that's great. We'll take them. But otherwise, this is more about just awareness of what happens in the community that affects so many people. You hear stories on the news all the time about kids that have been lost in car accidents. I also was in a bad car accident when I was 15 and lost a good friend of mine. Had I been 15, 16 years old and had something like Lost and Found, I probably would have circumvented a lot of the self-issues that I had, or self-medicating issues and things like that, that I really feel like this is much larger than just a group setting. It's the people that you find that you're there to be a good support system for you on the way out.
Yeah. Now, I mean, that's what life is about, is doing it together, because it's too hard to do it by yourselves. So why chalk art?
So chalk art, well, I'll give a shout out to my niece. My niece is one of the best sidewalk chalk artists I've ever seen for someone who started doing this at probably 12 years old. She's 16 now, and she's probably one of the best artists I've really ever met. I started researching, though, of what these look like across the United States. And everywhere else but in the Midwest, specifically Missouri and Springfield, you don't hear of these. And these are big fundraisers that you'll see out in California or on the East Coast, where they're bringing in $500,000 just for one event. I wanted to do this just as an awareness campaign to show people what Lost and Found Grief Center is all about, but bring them together in just a community setting where we can do a really pretty place. We're going to have it at the X Center in Nixa, which is off North Street. It's where the pool is. They've also got $1 million new playground they just put in. It's super nice, and we're going to be adjacent to that. There's going to be a health fair right before that. There's going to be movies in the park night after that. So.
Okay, it's free. How do people register for this?
You can go into lostandfound.com, or you can go to our website at Lost and Found Grief Center, and you can sign up through that link. We're looking for teams. We're looking for individuals. K through 12, 13 to 16, and 17 and above are our age brackets, and you might win $50 for being top prize.
Prizes. That sounds amazing. So really quick before we go, tell us about the artist who did this.
So Francois Lariviere is the biggest blessing I've had besides Tiffany throughout this whole entire thing. Francois grew up in this area. He also moved away to LA. He's moved to Nashville and done a lot of big art for a lot of big people.
I know that you can find him online. What's that website real quick?
Francois, it's Art by Frenchie. You'll see right down there at the bottom of the piece. There.
Okay, on Instagram, I know you can find him there at Art by Frenchie.
He's amazing.
You guys, thank you so much. We're out of time, so Ozarks Live will be right back.